Hey guys, Scott here. There's been so much talk about the anti-tunnel and anti-slug and all the crazy changes that have been happening, the new killer, then the community's backlash, and then going back on all those changes, all the crazy shit that's been happening. And yet we've had Michael Myers just sitting here going like, I'm also changing, guys, talk about me. And I feel like no one's really covering him. So I wanted to give Myers a bit of time for a discussion and whether or not he's actually better. I actually played a pretty significant amount of Myers. I was on the PTB for pretty much until it shut down. And I'd say maybe 30% of that was actually just entirely playing Myers to see if he's actually better. And in a nutshell, if you don't want to watch the video, is he better? I think very slightly, but not nearly enough due to how not great he is to begin with. I feel like he could have been made a lot stronger. So those are my overall thoughts on it, but it's far more nuanced than that. So how does the new Myers work? Well, he's got two basic forms. He has a Stalker mode, which is basically Tier 1 Myers. Then he's got Pursuer mode, which is basically Tier 2 Myers. And then he's got Evil Incarnate, I believe it's called, which is Tier 3 Myers. Now, how you get this is a bit different. Previously, you would just stalk someone from Tier 2, and then you would stalk from Tier 2 to Tier 3. And it would just be like a progressive thing, and then your Tier 3 would run out, and you'd go back to Tier 2, but you could never go back to Tier 1. Now you kind of have an option to choose which mode that you want to be in. You can walk around as Tier 1 or Tier 2 whenever you want. Now, this does have some upsides because, for example, if everybody is already injured and you don't really benefit from going to Tier 3 anymore, then running around in Pursuer mode might be a decent idea because you still have a fairly small attack radius. It's not as small, but you still have a pretty small attack radius and you can just chase people as a full speed killer and it'll punish people for not healing and resetting. However, if you want to get closer to people, you can just walk up to them with Stalker mode, which has absolutely no attack radius because it's basically Tier 1. It's just sort of like a more customizable form of Tier 1 and Tier 2. It's not much more complicated than that. But it does get a little bit more spicy when you talk about how you transition into Evil Incarnate. Because here is, I think, the biggest downside with the new Myers. When you transition from Stalker mode to Evil Incarnate, there is the long delay now. It doesn't seem that long when you're looking at it like from the screen here, but it's basically like 2 or 3 seconds where you move very slowly and you can't attack. And that is so detrimental to his ability to ambush people. The absolute biggest strength of Myers for the past 8 years is being able to have a 99 Tier 2 bar. You sneak up on someone with basically no attack radius, then you just Tier 3 them instantly, and then they're just dead. So they have no real chance to react. They got like a second or two to get to a powder window. Just not enough time to feasibly do that. So now it's a little different. Now, because when your bar is filled up, you are stuck in Pursuer mode, which means you will have a attack radius. It's just not a very big one, but you don't have that option anymore. You must be in, like, you can't go back to Stalker mode when your bar is full. I didn't know that when they first announced that you are stuck in Pursuer mode if your bar is full. So what you can do now is kind of awkwardly still 99 your Stalker mode, and then kind of go in Pursuer mode to chase until then. And then you can still sneak up on people with the 99 stalk. Then instead of just pressing, right mouse and then immediately attacking, you have to press right mouse and then press control to go into Evil Incarnate and then attack. But before that happens, you have this lengthy transition animation, which, like I said, really kills a lot of your ambush potential. So now survivors have more time to react when you sneak up on them because you're just going to look at your knife for a little bit as they get to a window or pallet. And I lost several downs because of that. So I will say Myers' ability to be stealthy and sneak up on someone is a lot weaker. Now, I understand why that happened because I think everyone would agree here that getting 99 feels like shit. It's not your fault that the Myers stalked your teammate who's just teabagging in a corner or something like that. And now because of that, you have someone that just sneaks up on you with basically no warning, you just die instantly. That never really felt good on the survivor side. So I get why they wanted to change that, but I don't think what they did was enough to compensate. I don't feel like he's stronger enough. Like the transition time, it just takes, it removes so much of the ambush potential that it seems like a just straight downgrade. In addition to the actual transition time, you also can't just instantly swing with a one-shot anymore. So in Evil Incarnate mode, your M1 attack doesn't one-shot. You have to use your power, which A, has a pretty lengthy cooldown, and B, takes time to wind up. A regular M1 attack is 1 frame. As soon as you tap that button, they are dead the next frame. There's nothing they can really do about it. But now, you have to raise your knife for a certain amount of time. Now, you can let it go pretty quick after even like a third of a second. It's pretty fast. And that'll basically give you a regular distance lunge, and you can charge it longer if you want a longer lunge. But it still doesn't change the fact you've got this transition time, and now you've got a delay on your actual M1. So, yeah, like I said, these are all things that make your ability to ambush somebody much weaker. Now, what did he get in exchange for that? Well, he got much better chase potential. Now he has the ability to break pallets while he's an evil incarnate with his actual lunge. And that can be very useful in a lot of scenarios. In the same type of scenario, a Demogorgon lunge would be useful in dropping or dealing with pre-dropped pallets. It is useful for that. However, it's got kind of a tell because you have to raise your knife for that to actually start. So a lot of the time survivors can react to this and just stun you because, again, you can't just do an instant frame one swing. You have to charge up the laser beam here. And I found very often survivors were able to react to that, not risk me breaking the pallet, but just stun me instead. And in that scenario, I just come out on bottom every time. So all these things make it so I think there's too much counterplay offered to the survivors, and it's just not really much stronger than he used to be. The actual charge itself, if fully charged, does go an enormous distance and a comically long distance, but it's kind of to the point where that doesn't really matter. Like, you would never fully charge that unless you're doing some type of meme or a challenge or something. I never found an actual feasible, realistic time to fully charge that bar. It just didn't really ever seem like a necessary thing. So overall, I don't really feel like Myers got that much stronger. He traded his best part, which was an immediate ambush into a down, for slightly better chase, but even his chase is not that great. A single round junk loop is really all you need to counter him because the steering of the dash is just so awkward. It basically has 3 phases. The first phase, you have full control over your motion. The second phase, you have no control over your steering direction at all, so you are locked in a straight line. And then right again towards the end again, you have full control again. So it's this really awkward to use power that's pretty easy to avoid on Survivor, and as long as Survivor's just rounded corners pretty efficiently around rock loops and stuff like that, I just straight up wasn't able to hit people with it, so I basically had to just, very quickly charge it at the pallet itself. And when I did that, I was able to at least usually break the pallet and move on, but then you're slowed down a lot like Singularity, and you still don't it's not like you're super close to them, they still gain some distance from it, so overall, I'm not sure if the trade-off is worth it. I'm not sure the lack of ambush power now that he has was worth the slightly better chase. Additionally, he was nerfed in a bunch of other areas that he just didn't need to be nerfed for as well. His max stalk range has been decreased. His greater stalking charge rate at distance has been decreased as well. Like, why are we giving trades to this killer that is already bottom tier? He just needs to be stronger. Not like, okay, his chase is a bit stronger, he's a bit more relentless, but we're going to take this away, we're going to take this away, we're going to take this. Just fucking why? Speed up the transition time. Like, put the bonuses back for stalking and distance. At least that's thematic for Myers. They've already killed his thematic nature due to the psycho change they did here. So there are so many ways to make him better like that. He didn't need any of the trade-offs. He just needed to be straight up better. I'm curious to hear what you guys think, but overall, I'm disappointed thematically with this rework, and after playing him a bunch, he's barely even better. Like, I thought we were going to get an actual sizable Myers buff, but he's just barely better. But that's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.